Hello, my name is Mr. Thorne and you're watching Mr. Thorne Does Grammar, and it's a very special video today because I've got a brand new hat as bought for me by my wonderful Year 5 set. Thank you very much. So I'm trying it out for today. Let's see how the video goes with my new hat. Today we're going to learn all about question marks. Now you can use question marks as punctuation at the end of a question. Now questions often start with phrases like what, who, when, where, why, how, but also start with other words like do, can, may, and those words aren't always associated with questions. Now there are other words as well that begin questions, and you'll find that out as you read and write, but those are the main words that start off a question. And if you're asking something, you will need a question mark at the end. Here's an example. What is the capital of Spain? Now there's a question. Now that will have a question mark at the end, and we all know the answer is Madrid. That's right. Brilliant. Do you have a pen I could borrow? Now that's a question, so it will have a question mark at the end. And remember, we don't need a full stop because there's already a full stop inside the question mark. Oh, yes, it is true. How do you know that? There we go. Another question. Where did that come from? Another question. Now in speech, you still use a question mark, but you would have the question mark going inside the inverted commas, inside the dialogue. So here's an example. What is the capital of Spain? Asked Mr. Thorne. So we'd have inverted commas. What is the capital of Spain? Question mark. Inverted commas. Asked Mr. Thorne. Okay, so your question mark goes before the final set of inverted commas. If you're reporting speech, she asked me if she could borrow my pen. Now, if you're reporting that question, then you don't need a question mark if you're just reporting it. Are you ready for some more? Question mark. Well, now it's your turn to have a think of any other questions. Thank you for watching Mr. Thorne Does Grammar, all about question marks. Don't forget to like up the video and subscribe to Mr. Thorne Network, and download the Mr. Thorne Does Grammar app or the Mr. Thorne's Spelling with Dragons app. Or even better still, you could download the Mr. Thorne's Word Search app, which is brand new. Brand new, it only came out in January. That's 1 month ago. So, get liking, get subscribing, and I'll see you down the road. Bye for now. Hello, my name is Mr. Thorne and you're watching Mr. Thorne Does Grammar. Welcome back once again. Today we are going to talk all about exclamation marks. Now an exclamation mark is a punctuation mark used at the end of sentences when you want to exclaim something, or shout something, or show emotion, or bark a command at someone, or an order, okay, with bossy language. Here's an example of when you might use an exclamation mark. And don't forget, there is already a full stop in the exclamation mark, so we don't use it with another full stop. The full stop is already in there. Okay, so here's an example of when to use an exclamation mark. That's brilliant! Exclamation mark. Amazing! Exclamation mark. Oh no! Exclamation mark. They're all exclamations. They're showing emotions like happiness or shock or surprise or sadness or horror or delight or amazement. Help! Exclamation mark. Oh my goodness. Now try not to get carried away using your exclamation marks. Do not use more than one in your writing, in your formal writing, because really one exclamation mark is enough. The writer F. Scott Fitzgerald, who wrote The Great Gatsby, said that adding exclamation marks is like laughing at your own joke. So don't use too many of them. Use them wisely. What a fool! Now there's an exclamation mark you can use at the end. What a fool! Now what is usually a question word, but here you can use it as an exclamation. What a fool! Exclamation mark. You can also use an exclamation mark when you're ordering someone to do something, or making a command, or a bossy phrase or statement, like do as you're told! Exclamation mark. It's bossy. It's an imperative sentence. It's making you do something. Come here at once! Exclamation mark. Another bossy statement. Go away! It's not very polite, but it still requires an exclamation mark at the end. And remember, we don't need a full stop because there's already a full stop in the exclamation. Phew! Exclamation mark. That was a close call. Exclamation mark. So we can use exclamation marks when you want to add emphasis to something, when you want to strengthen what you're saying, when you're adding volume to what you're saying. Stop! Exclamation mark. So there I'm using volume, and my exclamation mark just adds extra expression to my statement of stop. And don't forget, you can use exclamation marks to show emotions or the strength of an emotion, the intensity of an emotion. You can also use an exclamation mark to show emphasis if you really want to make a point. Or you can use an exclamation for an order or a command or anything bossy. Do as you're told! Exclamation mark. Watch this video! Exclamation mark. Thank you for watching! There you go, exclamation mark, because the way I said it added extra emphasis. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to Mr. Thorne Does Grammar on YouTube and like up the video. You can also download the Mr. Thorne Does Grammar app or the Mr. Thorne Spelling with Dragons app for your iPhone or iPad. Do it! Exclamation mark. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you down the road. Bye for now. Hello, my name is Mr. Thorne and you're watching Mr. Thorne Does Grammar. Welcome back. Today we're going to learn all about inverted commas, or the artist formerly known as speech marks. So, speech marks are used to demarcate speech. They are the little 66 and 99 that you see at the start of some speech and at the end of some speech. In fact, everything I'm saying to you now could be demarcated with speech marks, said Mr. Thorne. Here's an example of where speech comes first in a sentence and how we use speech marks or inverted commas and punctuate it correctly. Congratulations, wished the girl. Now can you see how I've got my inverted commas at the start of congratulations and at the end, but I've also got an exclamation mark that comes inside the speech. Not after the speech marks, but inside the speech marks. What a goal! Yelled the striker. Now, what a goal is an exclamation, so I'll put an exclamation mark at the end of goal, and then I'm going to put my inverted commas at either side, at the start of what and at the end of my exclamation mark. What a goal! Yelled the striker. Here's another example. How many goals will they score? Asked the commentator. Now we've got a question there. How many goals will they score? Well, that's the speech, that's the spoken part. So I'm going to put my speech marks, my inverted commas, around how many goals will they score. And it's also a question. So that question mark has got to go inside my speech. So I'm going to put my question mark after score, and then my speech marks, and then finish with asked the commentator. For my next trick, I will need my magic wand, said the magician. Now, I'm going to use a comma now. Now the rules of writing speech suggest that we need to use a comma there after wand because the sentence isn't finished until I tell you who said it. So for my next trick, comma, I will need my magic wand, comma, close my speech marks, said the magician, full stop. Okay, so the sentence is all together. For my next trick, I will need my magic wand, said the magician. And that is the whole sentence. So can you see how I've used a comma there to end my speech, closed inverted commas, and then I've said who said it, said the magician. So this is where speech gets a little bit more challenging, a little bit more tricky, because you have to be careful about how you use punctuation when writing speech. You must remember the jury should all agree on a verdict, said the judge. So I've used more speech there, and I've used my inverted commas at the start and at the end of the speech, but just before the final pair of inverted commas, I've used a comma, because the sentence isn't over until I've told you who has said it. Okay? Take a picture of that bird, demanded Jake. So take a picture of that bird, it's a demand, it's a request. So an exclamation mark will do there. Take a picture of that bird, exclamation mark, and that can go in inverted commas, in speech marks. So the little rule to remember here is that punctuation at the end of speech goes inside the speech marks. It goes before the speech marks, and it is usually a comma, exclamation mark, or a question mark. Okay? Save the full stop until the end of who said it. Now, sometimes in speech, you might want to break your speech up, like this. For my next trick, said the magician, I will need my magic wand. So I've split my speech up there, and we can split it up like this. For my next trick, comma, and put that part in inverted commas, said the magician, comma, and then open up your speech marks again. I will need my magic wand. Full stop, close speech marks. So if you've got speech at the end of your sentence, then you can use a full stop inside the speech. And don't forget that punctuation goes before the speech marks. Here's another example where the speech is split in the middle by a description of who said it. For the duration of the match, the manager commented, it was a game of two halves. So for the duration of the match, there's a nice natural pause there. For the duration of the match, and I'm going to have speech marks around that part with a comma inside the speech. Commented the manager, and I've used commented instead of just said. Then put a comma after that, because I'm about to tell you what he said next. It was a game of two halves. Can you see how it does not start with a capital letter? It starts with a lowercase I because it's a continuation of the first part of the sentence. It was a game of two halves, full stop, close speech marks. Okay? So we've got 4 pairs of speech marks really in that sentence, but you've broken it up. Now you can have speech at the end, as we talked about. The team manager said, it was a hard-fought battle. The team manager said, comma, then open your speech marks. It was a hard-fought battle. And you can use a capital there because that's the start of some speech. It was a hard-fought battle, full stop, close speech marks or inverted commas. The teacher said, this story has a happy ending. Now, because my speech is at the end, I don't need to put a comma at the end, I can put a full stop at the end instead. So, the teacher said, comma, open your speech marks, this story has a happy ending, full stop, close speech marks, okay? Have a good go of using speech marks in your writing, inverted commas, the new name for speech marks. Have a good go, and I'll see you down the road. Bye for now.